The reason we like this saw is it's very, very flexible and it does a lot of different kinds of cuts for you depending on how you set it up, okay? There is two main features that you want to be aware of, three main features that you want to be aware of besides the blade, which you should always be aware of. But firstly, we have this ability for the saw to telescope, and there's a little, maybe you want to come around this way, there's a little knob here that allows you to loosen and tighten this feature, okay? This allows us to cut wider material. So when I say wider, sorry Ed, when I say wider, I'm talking about something like this or this, okay? As opposed to what we're cutting, which is not as wide, okay? So we have these different sizes of boards. This saw will cut all of these different kinds of boards, no problem. And in fact, it will cut boards that are wider than this even, so 10 to 12 inches. But what you need to know is when you're cutting this skinny material, you don't want this moving. And it should be all the way in. So if you see the saw, the first thing you want to do is just check it out. Before you decide to cut or measure or do anything or have your material, whatever, just come and look at the saw and say, okay, where should this be depending on what I'm cutting? And what you want to do is for a skinny material like this, that we're going to cut this kind of skinny material like this needs to be all the way in, okay? Because all you're doing is chopping. If you were going to cut a wider board or even a wider frame material, because sometimes frame materials can be very, very wide, then you would unscrew this and pull it out, set your cut up in here, then, hang on, I'll show you this feature in a second, but for now, just trust me. Starts up here, your board is in here, this is scary, right? Then it goes down, engages the material, and then it goes through. Not the other way around. You don't chop first, then pull. You push down, and then you push in. So push, push, okay? For the chop, which is what we're gonna do, we wanna make sure this is all the way in and locked. Again, same knob. So now I cannot pull this out, and you don't want it moving on you. You just want it in place. Okay, also what you'll see when you come in here is the saw will be like this, probably, it should be. There is a lever here at the top, a little knob that blocks the saw head from moving up and down. So this is the locked position, it's the safe position, the blade is down. So what you want to do to be able to use the saw is you want to push this down, there's a little bit of play in it, push it down and pull this out, okay? There's just a little piece of metal that blocks this part of the saw so that it won't raise up. So if you pull this out, then it's free to move, okay? That's that. Oftentimes you're cutting material that's very long. So what you're going to want to do is there are these two levers here that you release and these little wings come out. And this will help support your material that's overhanging the chopping area, okay? That's that. Another feature of the saw is this clamp, this kind of built-in clamp. This you would position over this bed and screw it down onto your material to keep it in position once you have it locked into the place where you want to cut, okay? So that's that. This, there's another hole in the back on that side as well. So there's a little knob here that tightens and loosens it. I just loosened it up. It's the same kind of knob as this on the back. Comes out, there's a little notch in it right here that fits all the way down into that hole, so I can move it over here, okay? Unfortunately, this saw is missing one of these knobs. It's a brand new saw, but it's missing one knob. So you have to take this knob out and move it over. Just don't lose it, don't eat it, or whatever.